Hey guys, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is my first ever video. I just filmed how I achieved this look that I have over here. So if you want to see how I did it, please continue to watch. So I'm gonna start with my brows. I'm just brushing them up, and then I'm gonna use good old green bar of sunlight. This helps me lay down my brows because they're quite bushy and they're very difficult to control when I'm doing my brows, so I use the green bar sunlight to lay them down. And now I'm just gonna shape my brows, sorry, not shape, fill in my brows with my brow liner. I got this liner from Miniso, I think the store is called. It's a Korean or Japanese shop. It's a franchise actually, and I got it from the one in Cresta Mall. I don't know where other stores are, but if you want one, you could get it from there. They have some really cool stuff. So now I'm just filling in my brows, all the sparse areas, and I'm following the natural shape of my brow. I am now brushing out the beginning of the brow, so like the first half of the brow. I am going to shape my brows with that angled brush. It's a wider angle brush than the usual. I feel it gives me more control over when I am creating the shape I want. So I normally start at the center of the brow and then continue to the outer part, and then only come to the beginning of the brow. I create the shape better when I do it this way, but you can do it any way you feel comfortable. As you can see, I'm tapping instead of swiping, because with concealer, if you swipe, it leaves streaks on the skin. So I find that tapping blends it out so much better than swiping. I am using the concealer from Revolution. The shade is number C11, and it's about one shade lighter than my skin tone. Now I'm moving on to carve out the top of the brow, still using the same concealer. I get the concealers from Clicks. Revolution is a brand. I think in South Africa you can only find it from Clicks. I am brushing out the beginning of the brows again because I like for them to look as natural as possible. Now I'm taking the shade C9 and I'm going to put that all over my eyelids. I'm taking this blending concealer blending brush to put that onto my eyelids. I am going to set that with my Banana Benai powder, so that when I put the eyeshadow, it doesn't stick onto the eyes and it's easier to blend. So now I'm using these three brushes, the bigger one to put the transition color, and you'll see as I go. I'm putting on my transition shade, which is normally the lightest shade when you create an eye look. I didn't show you guys the eyeshadow I'm using because it's a Huda Beauty fake palette, so I'm not about to promote using fake products. Now I'm gonna move on to my Crayolan palette, which is original, that's why I'm showing it. I'm using that shade at the center. I don't know the shade names, but with Crayolan palettes you can create your own palette. So this is custom. They're quite pricey, but they are definitely worth it. Super easy to blend. I am putting that on my crease, so below, a little lower than where I put the transition color. Now I'm taking the darkest shade from the Crayolan palette, and I'm putting that on the outer corner of the eyes. Moving it a little bit onto the center. I am blending that out so that there aren't any harsh lines between the lighter and the darker shades. Doing the same on the other eye. I'm now moving on to this huge palette that I have, and I'm taking that snowy shimmer shade. I am putting that onto my lid from the inner corner of the eyes up until the center. I'm using my finger because I don't want it like a cut crease, so I want it sort of like a blended shimmer shade. I'm going to take that dark shade again just to blend the outer corner, just making sure that both colors are blended and the transition between the two is seamless. I'm now moving on to the eyeliner. It's a L'Oreal eyeliner that I got from Clicks. I'm first starting with the wing, the outer part of the wing. I do that on both eyes just to make sure that they're the same, and then I start on that outer part of the wing and then bring it inwards, then go into the inner corner and then combine the two together. Joining the two lines again on this side, then starting on the inner corner, and then again joining the two together. I'm now moving on to lashes. I am going to glue the lashes and then leave them for about a minute, and while I leave them to dry, I'm going to put my primer. I used this primer from Sephora that I got from Sephora when I went to Bali. I believe you can get Sephora shipped to South Africa if you want. Otherwise, if you have a friend that travels quite a bit, you could give them and they could bring it for you into the country. But another primer that's really good is the Maybelline Baby Skin, the one in the blue tube. I found that is really good as well. For dry skin, I have this other one by Skin Nutrition that I get from Foschini. It is a glow primer that is super moisturizing. It leaves the skin feeling really nice. So if you have dry skin, this is really awesome. I'm just gonna blend that on to my skin right under my eye. Now I think the lashes are dry, so I'm gonna pop them on. I'm taking my tweezers and I first apply the lash at the center of the eye, and then put on the outer corner and then the inner corner. And then I'm just taking the tweezers to just clip the lash, the false lash onto my natural lash, just so that there's no space between the two. Doing the same on the other eye. Now that I've primed my skin, I'm gonna put my foundation on. I'm using the Skin Nutrition foundation that I get from Foschini as well, and I'm gonna put that on with that concealer brush. I put 2 drops of the foundation onto the back of my hand, and then I just take it and put it on my skin. Now I'm gonna take my Real Techniques Expert face brush, I think that's what it's called, to put my foundation on. It's a very dense brush. It helps me blend the foundation seamlessly. The foundation, the shade looks a bit too yellow for my skin tone at the moment, but it oxidizes quite a bit, so it will look better once it is oxidized. If you're wondering why my lips look a bit pink, now it's because I put some exfoliator lip thingy. My lips were feeling a bit dry, so I'm just gonna blend out the foundation all over my face, making sure that it is proper blended. I'm gonna take my concealers, the 2 shades C11 and C9. I'm gonna start with C11 first, the ones from Revolution, and I'm gonna put that under my eyes, on my chin, center of the nose, as well as on my forehead. Oh, and on the sides of my cheeks as well, so below where I'm going to contour. There, I'm putting it now. Then I'm going to take my, it's actually called a contour brush from Real Techniques that I also get from Clicks, and I'm going to blend my concealer with this brush. I'm going to do under my eyes last because I want to leave the concealer to dry a little bit. You get more coverage if you leave it to dry a bit versus if you blend it out immediately. With my under eyes, I'm going to blend out the bottom, so the outer part of the concealer first, And then I'm taking the shade C9, which is about 2 or 3 shades lighter than my skin tone, and I'm going to put that right under my eyes, really close to under my eyes, to make sure that any eye bags or anything is proper concealed. I'm blending that out with the brush that I put the foundation with, which is actually a concealer brush. And then I'm taking the brush that I was using to blend out the rest of the concealer, just to make sure that everything is seamless. I use the word seamless a lot, but really when you do makeup, you cannot play around and cannot be leaving with streaks and harsh lines and all of that. Now I'm taking my LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Chestnut, which is about 2 shades dark than my skin tone, and I'm going to contour with this shade, putting that above where I put the concealer. With contouring my nose, I don't put the concealer directly onto the nose. Rather, I take that brush that you saw me take, and then I'm going to use that. Now I'm putting the concealer on my forehead and then on my jawline, just so that there's no harsh line between my face and my neck. I am blending that out first because I don't want to leave it to dry out too long, because it's going to be more difficult to blend. Now we're moving on to the nose. Remember, I left concealer onto the brush a while ago. I'm just going to put that onto the nose to contour the nose. Now we are carving out our sculpted nose. I blended out up until just under my brows, because I just want it to look, I don't want any lines ending just in the middle of nowhere. I am going to blend out my forehead, so that's why I lifted the stocking a little bit, just to blend out the contour shade onto the lace just a little bit, just at the beginning. Now I'm blending out the sides, my contour, and I'm connecting that to the one that I just blended out in the forehead. If you leave the concealer on a bit too long, it dries out, especially LA Girl, so you want to work quite quickly with this one. I am now going to take the brush that I put my foundation, that I blended my foundation with, and I'm going to blend out where the contour shade meets the highlight shade. Again, the purpose is to make sure that there aren't any harsh lines between the two. Now I'm going to set my highlight using my Banana Benai powder. I am basically just putting that where I put the lighter shade concealer, so under my eyes, on my nose, on my forehead, and on my chin. And this is what they normally call baking. I'm gonna leave that under my eyes until I finish doing the rest of my makeup. Now I took my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Medium Golden, I think, and I am setting the rest of my face, so basically where I didn't put the lighter powder. I'm now going to set my contour rather, And I'm taking those two shades, the one from LA Girl, which I'm going to start with. It's the one that's closest to my skin tone, and I start with it because it's not too strong, so I can create a soft set to my contour. And then I'm going to use the other one if I want a stronger contour, so a sharper, more visible contour. I'm putting that where I put the LA Girl darker shaded concealer, so on my forehead, sides of my cheeks, on my jawline, and on my nose. Taking the darker shaded setting powder, this one is by Nina K that I got from Dischem. I am now setting, just deepening the contour a bit. Now moving on to our under eyes, I'm going to take the shade that I put on my crease, and I'm going to put that on my lash line, on my lower lash line. Now using this pink eyeliner that I got from Avon, I'm going to line my waterline. I'm going to take a fluffy brush and I'm going to dust off the excess powder from my bake. I'm just dusting that off below, under my eyes, on my nose, on my forehead, and on my cheek. I'm now moving on to blush, and I'm using this one from Maybelline. That is just a dusty pink. It is not too strong, so if you've got a heavy hand, you're safe with this one. I always put a little bit also onto my nose, just so that everything onto the face looks put together. I'm now moving on to highlighter, and I'm going to use this one from MAC in the shade Cheeky Bronze. It's actually a skin finish as well, and it is very light. It just gives like a glowy, subtle glowy look. It is not too strong. That's why I'm using two highlighters. If you saw the exfoliator thing that I put on earlier, I'm now removing that with a wipe, and I'm just going to use my foundation brush just to blend out if I left any mess while removing that, or if I moved any foundation while removing that. I'm going to continue putting the highlighter onto my cupid's bow, my chin, my nose, and the sides of my cheeks. Now moving on to the setting spray, but this is actually just rose water. I use rose water and then setting spray. I find that using both helps me just blend, just melt all the powders onto my skin. After that, I'm now moving on to the other highlighter. It's by Too Faced, and I also bought it from Sephora. I'm now lining my lips with this lip liner from Smudge that I got from Clicks. It's a dark brown, but it's like a mauvey brown. It's got like a dirty pink touch to it. Just overlining slightly. This is followed by this lipstick from MAC. I think the shade, I forgot the shade, but I will list it down below if you guys request. I'm now putting my setting spray. It's from Maybelline, followed by mascara, which is I think from L'Oreal, that I got from Clicks. I actually got this mascara for free when I was buying the eyeliner, and this other lipstick. I'm now gonna highlight the inner corners of my eyes using this pigment pot from Essence. Essence doesn't make these anymore, but it's like a loose pigment and it is super pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. I've had this for years and it's only about halfway, and at one point I spilt it, I think, and there's still so much because you only use so little. Now going to highlight under my brows. I'm using whatever that was left on the brush. I am now done with the face, guys. This is the final look. Please watch my other video on how I installed this frontal wig. Please comment, please like, please share, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.